Welcome to another episode of the Devil's Hall of Shame. That's not the name of this show, but it should be after last night's game. This is the Devils You Know. Today we do have the, if you're looking, I have the Taylor Hall jersey here for the Taylor Hall of Shame segment that we will be getting into in this episode. So, as you already know, since I'm over less than 24 hours, about 24 hours ago, they dropped the puck in Colorado. Now, many mistakes were made. Of course, nothing's ever perfect. You know, teams are not always as healthy as you would like them to be. But how do we say this, guys and girls? A big flubber happened. A fluber. A child would have known how to go about the situation where, one, the Devils are traveling and they're in their first game of a road trip out of the time zone, in a different time zone. You're coming off of an 8-game winning streak where you have Jake Allen with 7 wins, Nico Dawes with 1 win. Now Markstrom's on the bench. When you get to Colorado, you have a goalie who is not only undefeated, but has been rock steady. Third period against Colorado in New Jersey, shut down. Jake Allen. If there's any more doubt from you people, and if there's any more doubt from people who want to extend Markstrom for another 2 years, do you now see why we just went 8 games with the Allen Dawes against good teams? They're right here on the screen. Minnesota might not be the best, but Florida, the champs, the Oilers, both Oilers and Panthers, and Colorado, Columbus, not a easy game to win. Tampa Bay also. Okay, we lost to Carolina in Game 1. All right, now I'm not saying Game 1 isn't important, but it was the first game of the season. Also beat the Leafs. And the Sharks coming off their first win with, and we almost lost that game. But there's 2 people that go into the Taylor Hall of Shame, and we're gonna have to get to that segment. So let's get into it. All right, so our first Devil that goes into the Devil's Hall of Shame, I'm going to start it off with the main culprit, Sheldon Keefe. Sheldon Keefe, you, my friend, are in the Taylor Hall of Shame. I wish I could speak like, who was it, Bob Barker or something? I don't know. You Taylor Hall of Shame. Okay? Now, Sheldon Keefe gets his first induction into the Taylor Hall of Shame for starting Jacob Markstrom in Colorado, and goalie coming back from an injury who, our eyes, the fans' eyes, I know, there's professionals, they were in the arena, they're watching, this is a professional NHL coach, and we are just couch sitters, but we can see what our eyes are showing right or wrong. So, in the opinion of many that I've seen, and in my personal opinion, he did not look ready. And at what point, 5-4, do you take him out of the net and put Jake Allen in to maybe win this game? Salvage a point. Jake Allen may have come in if Sheldon Keefe didn't want to embarrass Markstrom. Maybe he knows. Maybe he knows what we want. And what and pardon me if you're not part of this, and I'm not calling you crazy, but what most sane fans say is that they don't want any more Markstrom after this season. Do not extend him for one more year. Nico Dawes keeps getting screwed, and he keeps playing well. Last year, shutout in 4 games, 3-1 with a shutout. Only 4 games, but look, I mean, he's great. He comes in, plays. He plays who did he play? Columbus? Whoever he played a good team. Because we haven't played any teams that are horrible, other than the Sharks. You could say are horrible, but we beat them, whatever. But he didn't play that game. That was Allen. So, or was it Nico Dawes? All right, now you know what? Before I go further, I'm going to check myself before I wreck myself. All right? I hope you don't mind. I'm going to go back and just make sure I see who is playing goal against the Shizzles. I just said the Shizzles. I really, honestly, I did say it. Okay, so Jake Allen, second period, sweat for sale. Not one shot against the Sharks. So Jake Allen was in net against the Sharks. So it wasn't that game. Jacob Markstrom does not look prepared. Now, if you're going to come up and you're on the bench and you're a goaltender and you feel like you looked last night, you better go to your coach and be like, hey, coach, this isn't really the game for me. We're going to San Jose, last place team. Let me get a shot in there. Or go to the coach. If I was in his position, this is what I would do. And I don't know how it is in the NHL or any of those professional leagues, but, from tournament teams and stuff like that where people were fighting for spots, from my recollection, this is what I would do. I would go to the coach and say, in this case, as Jacob Markstrom, I would say, Coach, I don't think I'm ready tonight to play such a powerful team. It's the second of a home and home. It's their home game. The team's on a heater, 8 games. Allen's won 7 of them. Why don't you throw him in there? I need a few more days just to get my bearings, to get prepared for a game. We got till Friday for the game in San Jose. Markstrom could have stepped up and done that. Markstrom could have stepped up after the Devils, in 4 minutes, brought the game back to a 1-goal game. It was 5-0. It was 5-0, Mr. Markstrom. Oh, no, Mr. Keefe. It was 5-0, and this is when you should have pulled. I think I've kind of been ripping on Markstrom this whole time. He is the other one. So, let's just bring them both. Let's just bring them both up onto the screen, and let's see here. Let me just put them both on screen. Okay, so now we can just talk about both of them. So now this is when Senor Keefe is supposed to say, hey, Marky, take a rest. Put Allen in. It's 5-4. Give the Devils a chance to score, tie it. Obviously, they didn't score a goal in the third period. They finished the game with 4 goals. But that doesn't mean that they wouldn't have in other... Things change. Just like you ever think of, hey, if I would have just pulled into that gas station... I wouldn't have gotten into the accident I got into up the road because I would have stopped at the gas station, but I decided not to, and then I got into an accident. But if I would have pulled into the gas station, I would have never gotten into the accident. Well, the accident here is this game, and what you were supposed to do was pull Allen at 5-4, and different in the third period, because people say, well, they didn't even score in the third. Well, things would have been different. Allen handles the puck differently. They wouldn't have gone down more with more goals against and lost, momentum. There's a lot of things that would have been different if Allen went in the third period. And I can't believe, first of all, that he didn't start Allen. Second of all, that he didn't pull Markstrom after the second. And then we're going to talk about Markstrom, who's right above me. He was horrible. What, 5 or 6 goals of those? I would say Nico Dawes would have easily stopped. It's definitely Jake Allen. And yeah, Jake Allen might be like, to some, a journeyman goalie, but you know what? He's hot for the Devils right now. Devils fans love him. I like him. I don't like a 5-year contract. I think the Devils have plenty of goalies in the coming up, and also they should have, if you look, and shoulda, woulda, coulda, but should have drafted Askarov. The Devils would have Askarov and Allen or Dawes and Askarov right now. We wouldn't even need these high-paid goalies. I mean, Allen's not taking a high pay, and you know what? We're grateful to him for that because he is a solid goalie. And you know what? When he came in, I wasn't a huge fan of bringing Jake Allen in, but I'm at the point where I might get a Jake Allen jersey because I respect the man. I can't really discuss what I've talked, the things I've said to him personally, but I really like him. And I got to put Jacob Markstrom right here and Sheldon Keefe both into the Taylor Hall of Shame. And that's it. So that's it. Bye, Taylor Hall of Shame. Alright, so let's get back to it. So, it wasn't a good start. Obviously, I believe one of the comments on X, a newborn baby would have known to wait to start Markstrom in San Jose or after the hot goalie gets knocked back down to size. But no, we can't have nice things. What else? Oh yeah, check out my my X account. I posted up first of all, I found my Devils of Destiny Marvel comic book signed by Nico Hischier. I'm going to get another player or two to sign one of those. I think it's a really cool object to get signed, a piece of memorabilia, because it's like a rare Marvel-made comic book. Without an autograph on it, they're worth $50, $60, $70, maybe $80 on eBay. You know, people have bought them for. So I have one signed by Nico Hischier. I mean, you can't really see it, and I also have the Stadium Series program that's wrapped in plastic still. Great Marilyn Manson song from Portrait of an American Family. Check it out, wrapped in plastic. Did I just turn my hat backwards? You see this hat? It's made by Fanatics. It's a very nice hat. It says Devils really big, and the Devils logo is in like this square patch. I don't know, but it's a green, red, and white one, so it matches my Heritage jerseys and a few other things that I have. Pretty cool. Anyway, so let's get to the game. Let me put my headphones back on just so I know things are going running properly. Wow, the Blue Jackets are up 4-1 on the Leafs. The only game of the night, Blue Jackets versus Leafs. So, all right, so this is how it started. And, we can't say that there weren't some good things going on. The Jack Hughes to Jesper Bratt to Jack Hughes goal was a highlight reel goal, no matter if the Devils lost 10-1 and that was their one goal. That was an excellent goal, highlight reel goal. So, to start the game, a minute 24 in, stupid delay of game. Marty Necas, 7 goals Marty Necas already has, and Svechnikov, I think, still at 0 points, or did he get points last night? Actually, let's go see if Svechnikov had any points last night. Oh, he scored a goal. Svechnikov with 1 goal. They lost 6-3. So Stanko and Sheffield and Blake. Yeah. So, okay. He started the game off with the goal. All right, good for you, Svech. but Marty Necas 7, and it was also a power play goal for him. And then you kept hearing. I was listening to both feeds, Avalanche, Altitude, and of course Don and Ken and Don. I want to say Don and Dano. I kind of like. I don't know if what do you think? Dano and Don and Dano, Dano and Don and Dano, whatever. Either way, there's Bardakov, who he had his, and you'll never guess the first goal of his career. Always, the New Jersey Devils will always give a rookie or a guy who only played 3 games in his career and has one goal. That one goal is always against the Devils. It's just very odd. Not always, but it seems to be a lot. Other Devils fans recognize this, I'm sure. Bardakov from Brindley and Kelly. I hope Brindley does well, and Olofsson too, because I have some really nice rookie cards of theirs that I would like them to gain more value. So Olofsson scores. Oh wait, did I miss? Yeah, Bardakov and then Olofsson. Okay, from AHCAN, AHCAN. These are players that we don't hear often, and Landeskog, but. Kelly had a great game. Bardakov, AHCAN. The first one was Nichushkin, Makar. Then McKinnon, power play goal from Makar and Olofsson. These guys, Makar, Olofsson, McKinnon, great games. And Kelly, by the way. Parker Kelly, from Colton and Brent Burns. Now, what's really odd to me about Brent Burns is seeing him on the ice. Actively on the ice. I said this in the first game when they were in New Jersey. On the ice, playing with Makar and who's number 88? Whatever. He's got 88 and 8 out there, and Burns is on the ice, but he's not wearing either one of those numbers. It's very, very odd to see. So now 10:08 into the second period. The Devils go on a 4-minute blitz. Stefan Nason gets his first in his second game. Dougie Hamilton keeps lighting it up. You can't take anything away from Dougie Hamilton. Even after this game, obviously 8 goals went against the Devils. But, Dougie Hamilton was not the be-all, end-all of stopping those. I'd actually like to see what his plus-minus is. I might look at it. But Dougie Hamilton from a double Hughes from Jack... 5th assist of the season, and Luke's 6th assist of the season. And remember, Simone Nemec, who had an excellent game. He's got 7 assists, and almost had a goal if they drew. I think it was Parker Kelly who might have thrown his stick, because Wedgwood, Simone Nemec beat you. And if your player didn't toss the stick, he had the goal. So Nemec really had the goal. I wish he could be on the board, but whatever. Dawson Mercer then scores at 13:42 from Heischer and Meyer. Heischer's Mercer's 4th, Heischer's 8th assist, and Meyer's 6th assist. Then Jack Hughes and Jesper Bratt, the shimmy boom bang goes on. Hughes' 9th goal of the season, Bratt's 8th assist. Then McKinnon. So now it's 5-4. But we're still in the second period. This is where you're 5-4. You got like 6 minutes left. How much time was left? 14-12. Yeah, all right. 14-12 when Jack scored. Now it's 5-4. That's when you take Markstrom out. Be like, all right, goalie change. But no, a minute later, McKinnon from Makar and Olofsson. Power play goal, his 9th. Then who scores again? Another power play goal. This time in the third period. 3:10 in. Olofsson from guess who? McKinnon and Makar. And then Olofsson scores his hat trick from Drury to put the nail in the coffin. The nail was already in the coffin when the third period started without Jake Allen in it, or when he wasn't put in when the team came back and made it 5-4. You take Markstrom out, take the weak link, remove him. Remove and replace. You can't lose. If you're going to already lose, it doesn't hurt to try something different. Now, another thing we're going to bring back to the Taylor Hall of Shame about Sheldon Keefe. there was no reason to keep Brian Hallinan out of this game. We needed his presence in that game. Lamico could have started against the Sharks, could have played him against the Sharks. I forgot to bring this up earlier because I don't write notes. I go right off the cuff. Lamico, lovely guy. Can't wait till to see him play, but it was not the night to start a new guy. You needed the presence, the force, the fight of Brian Hallinan in the game last night. You need it. Like, you absolutely need it. If you disagree, let me know. But I don't think anyone would disagree on something like that. I mean, it's just obvious. It's obvious. So, we're on to San Jose. Not a team that we beat often, no matter how good or bad they are. Actually, when the Sharks had like a 20-year run where they were excellent. They just didn't win the cup. They could have won one. I was hoping they'd beat the Penguins. They didn't in 2018, but from like 2001 to like 2021, the Sharks were like a playoff team every year, top of the league. Check it out. 2 decades straight, the Sharks were good. They didn't win a cup. And their teams, even if they're bad in the standings, they're still hard to play against sometimes, especially this one. You could see how they shut the Devils down, and then the Devils shut them down, but the Devils still couldn't get a goal, even though San Jose didn't even get a shot on them in the second period. Devils still couldn't get a goal. It was a very close game against the Sharks, so you never underestimate them. But now at least we know Jake Allen's going to be in net, and I hope he stays in net for the other games down there in Cali. So we'll see this weekend what happens. But with that, thank you for being here. I appreciate all of you. Please check out my Fanatics Creators account. You could go to fanaticscreators.com. What is it? Fucking, because if you're listening on Spotify, fanaticscreators.com/mypage/Devil's Joint, and then you can, if you shop through the links on my page, you can get discounts, and you get points added and stuff like that. So check that out, and this is the title of this is the end, but I meant for Markstrom. We're on to the next. Let's go back to winning. Let's get the lineup straight. It's unfortunate we lost Brett Pesce. Seamus Casey, let's get him warmed up. It was his first game. That was necessary. It was not necessary for Lamico. That's the issue there. That's the issue I have there. So, with that, thank you. Let's go, Devils. I'll talk to you soon. This has been The Devils You Know.